Hi, Mark Cowper-Smith here in an undisclosed location somewhere in Southern California, hiding out from the coronavirus, as are many of us. This is going into week 2, and I'm wondering how you're doing, and I'm wondering how I'm doing. How should we as Christians approach this crisis? What should we be feeling? Are there appropriate feelings? Are there inappropriate feelings? I look around and, like you, I go to buy food and everyone keeps their cart out of my way, which is unusual, and we're all protecting ourselves. Some people seem to be very confident, other people seem to be very fearful and very tentative. How would God have us feel? And it struck me that this is the greatest epidemic, this is the greatest health problem that the U.S. has faced in its history, other than the 1918 Spanish flu that killed so many people. We've never been through something like this before, and it's the unknown, it's the uncertainty of what's going to happen. How am I going to get through this? What's life going to be like? And that's the question that haunts us. But it strikes me this way. When was the last time in your life you had to trust God with something that really, really matters to you? A life and death issue, maybe loss of everything, like the market just tumbled. And when I look back over my life, I see that for much of my life, most of my life to be honest, I've managed my life in a very conservative and careful way. I've always been risk averse. And so a crisis like this comes along and God asks me this question. He says, when was the last time you had to trust me with something that really matters to you? And the first time he asked me that question was years ago in the middle of a crisis. And I remember saying to him, well, I'm very careful and I'm very smart and I minimize all of my risks. And so I guess I haven't had to trust you before with something that really matters to me. And then he dropped this thought into my mind. The thought was, well, what if it's years, maybe decades, before you will have to trust me with something that really matters again? And it struck me all of a sudden, this isn't just a crisis, this is an opportunity. I have never had to trust God with things that really matter to me. Maybe this is an opportunity. And then the thought crossed my mind, well, maybe this is a test. And I realized this is a test I don't want to fail. So I said, all right, I'm going to choose to trust you. And in that moment of decision, something quite supernatural to me happened. A presence descended, literally descended onto me. I was lying down in bed at the time. And something descended onto me. And when it touched me, when it reached my head, I had instantaneous peace. And I think it was supernatural. I think it was a gift from God. Because it's never happened again. And I've been through very trying times with a lot of stress and haven't had that immediate, perfect peace. But I think it was a down payment. I think it was in earnest, we say the Holy Spirit is in earnest money for a promise, for a reality that's going to come later. It's a down payment. It's a sample, as it were. I think that peace was a sample for something that he was promising me throughout my life. So as we approach this crisis, my whole focus has been, Father, how can I trust you more in this? What are you looking for me? What are you looking from me in the middle of this crisis? And how can I please you? And the answer, of course, keeps coming back over and over again. Trust me. Just trust me. And the verse that I'd like to share with you is Jeremiah 17. And I can't get it just right, but it goes something like this. Blessed is the person who trusts in the Lord, for he or she will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots to the stream. And it has no fear when the heat comes. Its leaves are always green. And it has no worry in a year of drought, never fails to bring forth fruit. And that's a great promise, but it is somewhat conditional. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. When we find ourselves in a situation which is beyond us, where we can't change the outcome of it, we merely ride it out. We're given an opportunity to trust God, to put our confidence in him and not in ourselves. And peace is proportional to trust. The more we trust God, the more of his peace we will experience. So oftentimes we say, I wonder what God's thinking about me right now. I wonder what God's thinking about my life. Well, I can tell you what he's thinking about your life right now. He's thinking, how can I help her? How can I help him trust me more? How can I keep their attention on trusting me and not on the worries and the fears that they see in the world? That's his concern for us. That's his goal for us in the middle of this crisis. So I pray with you and I pray for you that we will keep our focus on him, that we will say, this is an opportunity to trust God with something that really matters in my life, and I don't want to miss this opportunity. So that's our prayer. And feel free to write into the website, Reluctantly Supernatural, or my website with comments. Love to talk to you about it. Love to converse back and forth. So until next time, carry on trusting.